let's also speak to a constitutional lawyer, Dr. Kwadwo Etua, who is joining us via Skype now on the back of Koku Anyidoho's arrest and the charge that's been put on him. Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We thank you for your time. So first of all, can I start with you because you're a constitutional lawyer? Can somebody be arrested the manner in which Koku was without a warrant, an arrest warrant, first of all?
Well, if you are talking about an arrest warrant, the law says that you can be arrested with or without one. If you can be arrested without an arrest warrant where the offense is committed in the presence of the police officer or somebody else who saw you committing the offense, or the police feels that there is a strong likelihood that you are likely to commit an offense. In such situations, you can be arrested without a warrant. But I don't have the full facts with regard to how Mr. Anyidoho was arrested for me to conclude if an arrest warrant was needed or not.
Okay. Even though you don't have the benefit yourself, what we have seen, and indeed our reporter was at the press center where there was a press conference of which Koku Anyidoho was an MC, and then police officers appeared and said they were arresting him. But going forward from that, the charge that's been given him is that of treason. Under what circumstance can somebody be charged of treason, really?
Treason is a very serious offense. It's a felony under our laws. And when a person is charged with treason, then it means that we are saying that the person has committed an act which offends the national security or which compromises the national security or is likely to lead to the overthrow of government or abrogation of the Constitution. So in such a situation, it means that that person wants to subvert the sovereignty of the particular country.
What's been the history on this? Because we've heard Koku make reference to a previous coup d'etat, one that people say that it's a chapter, an area that we never want to visit because we are a democracy now and nobody wants to see a military regime or even reference made to a coup d'etat. So what's the history here from then to now?
Sorry, the history of treason?
Treason and coup d'etats. For which reason we never want to experience that?
Oh, well, Ghana has experienced so many coup d'etat in our constitutional history. It is for the first time that we have enjoyed uninterrupted democratic rule for 25 years. And before then, the longest time that an elected president had been in office was for a little over 2 years. And so we have had that period in our history, and we've got to a time where we feel that we have stabilized in our democracy, and that's the thing of a coup d'etat or any other means of unconstitutional change in government is a thing of the past.
Can I ask what a civilian coup d'etat is? Is there anything like a civilian coup d'etat?
Well, that is, it depends on which side of the fence you stand. Sometimes coup d'etat is used generally to refer to any change of government through unconstitutional means. But strictly speaking, there are various means of unconstitutional change in government. For example, you can use rebels to change government. You can use mercenaries to change government. And even where a government decides to extend its term after, for example, a 2-year period that is prescribed in the Constitution has elapsed, and it wants to extend its term to a 3rd term, that even also constitutes unconstitutional change in government. And generally, people may refer to that as a coup d'etat. There is also this process of change in government where the government has entrenched itself in power and it has blocked all avenues for changing governments, and it has perpetuated itself in power or is perpetuating itself in power. So through a people's revolution, such as happened in parts of North Africa not long ago, especially Libya and Egypt, that can precipitate change. And that is a form of unconstitutional change in government, but it's a form of change that can be endorsed as legitimate because of the fact that all avenues for change in government have been blocked. And so if you talk about civilian coup d'etat, it could fall into the realm of the latter case, where it doesn't involve the use of the military or a bloody change in government, but it is the force of the people, the momentum they're able to gather, which is able to force a government that is in power and perpetuating itself in power and committing illegalities to change.
The comments that Koku Anyidoho made, are those treasonable comments?
Now that the matter has been referred to the police and they have charged him, it is, I'm in a difficult position to comment on that.
But it hasn't gone to court yet.
Of course, yes, but you need to be careful how you comment on that. You just need to look at the scenarios.
But it's making reference to a previous coup an offense?
Not necessarily. It's a question. It's a balance between freedom of expression and whether you want to commit a criminal act. The freedom of expression allows us to voice out our opinions, to receive such opinions, and to disseminate it as you want. But there's a caveat that there are some responsibilities that go with enjoyment of freedom of expression, and that is your expression should not compromise national security. And if it so happens, then it is one of the means that the law allows to limit the enjoyment of freedom of expression. You could also talk about it in the context of even propaganda, where you want to incite people to violence or to war. That is also, if you go that far, then it means that you have gone beyond the limits of your freedom of expression. So in that context, you can say that Koku Anyidoho may have gone beyond the right or the freedom of expression that he enjoys. But on the other hand, you also want to look at it from the perspective of whether he has the capacity to commit that act. So far, the police has done a search, and we don't know the evidence they found. Maybe they have found something that they think could connect him to the offense of high treason. So we live to see how this will pan out as the event unfolds.
If we take a cue from what happened to Canada, Japan, then I guess it's safe to say that this is a charge that can be difficult to prove.
Well, I mean, every case is difficult to prove because when it's a criminal case, you have to, the prosecution has to win its case on the balance of probabilities. And so in that context, it is about the evidence. At the end of the day, the name of the game is evidence. And so if the police is able to put this evidence properly together, then it can make a case. But yeah, so it boils down to that. At the end of the day, the evidence that can be marshaled that will determine whether they have a good case or a hard case, or whichever way it will have to go.
Dr. Appiah, stay with me, don't go yet, because I've got another legal practitioner in studio who is ranking member on the Constitutional Committee of Parliament. It's Legal Constitutional Committee
and Parliamentary Affairs.
And Parliamentary Affairs of Parliament, Alhaji Nusaf Saini. I was coming to you on what the punishment is. If proven guilty, what is he going to suffer?
It's stated in fact, it must be stated that the offense of high treason is the only offense that is created in the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution. That shows our determination to protect this Constitution. Indeed, if people are engaged in acts that are intended to overthrow the Constitution or any part of it, me and you can resist that act. And in resisting that act, if we are successful, the state will recognize our heroic activity. So if we are not, I mean, if you are not, the new government will find you. Yeah. After that, you are resisting them. If you are not, then but that is the provision is intended to encourage us to resist, because like Macbeth said, the good people are always more than the bad people, but it's only when the good people refuse to act that the bad people take over. So in looking at this provision, if we come together to say no, and I believe, to be honest with you, and that is why, let me say that I believe Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president of Ghana, is listening to me now. Easter is just around the corner. He should exercise his executive authority to drop this case. This is not a matter that he should be interested in, because this person.
Why not? Why not? There is a possibility that this may constitute
what
treason.
He referred to happened 46 ago. 46 years ago. We've just celebrated our 25th anniversary. We should not be looking at situations where we will criminalize free speech. Nana Akufo-Addo was a person who went to court and argued forcefully and vociferously against the sedition laws of this country, against the criminal libel law, and got it removed, even though it's coming back in another form in other countries. In our country today, we can say that even criminal libel law is coming back. Now, so why will we go back? Why will we take one step forward and two steps back?
But why would a leading member of the main opposition party, which just exited governments, take us back that way?
No, he exercises his right to freedom of speech. Okay, which has been found to be offensive to the sensibilities of right-thinking men. Okay, like I said, he's a criminal. Dr. Apiaje Itua says that you have to look at the circumstances of the case. Has it got the capacity? And I said it earlier. So, for me, if a person says a thing like this, what is the prudent response of government? Beef up your security. Intensify your intelligence gathering.
And let him just go?
Well, he's not going anywhere. He's in this country. And so if a person says that, look, be mindful, what happened to your father could happen to you. And somebody said it earlier. Probably Koku Anyidoho was not in the cassock. Because I read somewhere that a man of God has said it somewhere in similar terms, in more drastic terms. I mean, I just laughed. Because we in Ghana will resist any attempt to overthrow our government. We will not compromise the freedoms that we are enjoying now. We will not. I mean, Nana Akufo-Addo should be rest assured that we will protect his government to go through his term of office. Because we want to be able to compare the performances of government. We don't want any government to hide under the fact that if I were given the opportunity, I would have done better.
Dr. Apiaje, this is significant because that's a member of the NDC, the minority in parliament, that's making the statement that you hear right now. The fact that we've gone through this Fourth Republic safely 25 years, it's impossible for any person in the capacity of Koku Anyidoho to mean what he said, wouldn't you say?
I believe so, in the sense that when he talks about a civilian coup d'etat, even though he makes reference to the previous overthrow of the PP government, we have to look at the circumstances. We are currently in a democratic dispensation. We have been in a period of undisturbed constitutional rule for 25 years and beyond. If you look at the AU, the African Union, it has set strict rules on changes in government by constitutional means, and it is the only international organization, regional international organization, that has set out clear criteria on unconstitutional changes in government. And it even has a constitution, a treaty that relates to that. And even in the draft international criminal court that the AU is trying to set up, unconstitutional change in government is considered as an international crime. So it means how seriously the AU, not only that, ECOWAS also takes this matter. So looking at these circumstances and the fact that even the majority of Ghanaians, according to an Afrobarometer study, indicates that majority of us are in favor of constitutional rule. I don't think that the circumstances set itself up for a change in government which will be recognized if it is done unconstitutionally.
Yeah.
So why do our governments, because this is not the first time that we're seeing this particular action, why do our governments still, take on people who make such comments the manner that they do and end up slapping a charge of treason on them?
Well, it's unfortunate. That is why I said that the situation has been politicized. On the one hand, the NPP comes out forcefully, even including the information minister, to say that it hacks the fact that he refers to history means that it is possible because that is how the previous school was organized. The NDC, on the other hand, masses up people to say that he should be released, otherwise they won't leave the police headquarters. It compromises the whole principle of presumption of innocence and the fact that we have to resort to extrajudicial means to resolve issues. So that has compromised the whole discussion in a way. But I think that the police also, the issue about how they've handled it may determine or bring into discussion the independence of the police force. It is supposed to be an independent body. And we believe that is what they are trying to do. Their goal is to protect life and property, to ensure that there is peace and order within the society, yes. But in such a case, I think that they could have done things a little bit differently. For example, Mr. Anyidoho could have been invited to the police headquarters instead of being arrested. And they could have gone to his place to do the search discreetly to determine if there is any evidence that may prove capacity to commit the act. And then they could have immediately come up with a resolution of the matter, or they could have even granted him bail. But as it is now, they are making a hero out of him, and they are rather compromising the security of the state, in my opinion.
I'll come to you again, Dr. PJ, on this keeping people at the BNI for quite a good number of hours, and then us all contemplating whether the matter will end up in the court or not.